Brian Miller, 2121 Indiana Avenue, District 2. Yes, my question's kind of directed more towards the chief, fire chief. But observed two videos or two comments that was put out by city government last week. One of them was with a video on YouTube of the fire chief with Don Robinson, the director of fire service from the parish, saying that we had a recruit class in learning CPR. Is that recruits that are currently in a current recruit class, or was that a refresher course?
No, that's, I'll address that.
Okay. And then the second one was, another thing put out was that our fire department was going through Narcan training. Is that something that just started out here in Kennett? Because it's been in process for like 5 years, all the departments have been. And the reason I ask this question is, I believe that's kind of what I call a political propaganda perception. They give a perception to the people that, the unknowing public, what's really going on. CPR has been an ongoing thing in the fire service. Narcan's been a training going on in the fire service. So to add to that, my question would be, what are we doing for our citizens when it comes to the EMS service that we have here in the city? Because throughout the parish, it is a delayed service. Our policemen and our firemen are constantly having to respond to medical calls because the EMS service is, so rather than putting out a video of we're training in CPR, what kind of plans are we doing as a city administration, whether it's the mayor or the council or the chief, to better our EMS service for our citizens out here? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
Thank you for mentioning, stating that, sir, I also think.
Brian Miller.
Mr. Miller. Yeah. No, the class that you've seen actually was a presentation for the, I'm trying to talk to the mic and let people speaking to you. But the presentation that he's speaking of, last year we put on the Kennett Fire Department was the lead department.
That way you don't have to turn around.
Training, thank you, training the parish firemen. The parish never did a joint class. All of our departments in this, what, 13 different departments, we all are too small to host and train our members individually. So it's easier for us as a parish to look at a certain class, a certain time, and we all bring in all the people we need and train them at that time, instead of trying to individually hire 1, 2 people here and there. So last year, I brought that to all the parish chiefs, and Kenneth spearheaded that during the training. What you were seeing was the beginning of the second class that we're doing as training firemen, not just for Kenneth, but the entire Jefferson Parish. And actually, we have a guy from Clackamas Parish in that class also. And the Narcan training has been around for some years, and there was video of us doing Narcan refresher more than anything else with the with Tulane University that supplies the Narcan, or Tulane that supplies the Narcan for the city. We also, if you're not aware, have, because that is a major issue within not just Kennett, but every community throughout the country with opioid addiction and the deaths that's resulting from that. And Station 39 on Vintage is one of the places that members of the community, if they have a loved one that's suffering from that addiction, can go receive free Narcan from. So if that ever occurred where they needed to administer it to their loved one, they could pick up that one for free. But the training was just, we had the new guys that we've been bringing in over the past year that we need to make certain that they were trained in that also. So that's where that comes from. The EMS division. Now, how much time I have? My 3 minutes up? Because it's a long one. All right, EMS has been a problem for a lot of years. It didn't just start. It's been an issue since the 80s when I was in the EMT going through paramedic training, that they realized that the shelf life for a paramedic in a major city is only about 5 years. So because of the result of nobody in these positions that I'm in now and that's been here for years and years, not addressing that issue, we've reached a point of shortage. That's why you don't have enough EMTs and paramedics on the units and putting burden on police and firemen to try to pick up that slack. And we are addressing that issue. I've been in talks with many, the hospitals, Oxnard Kenner, police department here, this administration for months to set up some type of system, and part of my budget, and why you guys will see my budget go up tremendously, my ask is my budget tremendously, is to put in sprint units so that fire-based EMS medical response, we can provide better service to the community, a higher level of pre-hospital care for the members of the community instead of just the MR level that we are working at currently. You realize I brought in the doctor as a medical director in order to relieve some of the stress on some of the patients, because when those fire trucks roll to a medical call to help someone, once we make patient contact, we're on a medical call, we cannot relinquish that patient contact without giving it to a higher medical authority, right? You're aware of that. So even if the house next door catches fire, we're stuck treating, and we're trying to address all these issues. But these are issues that's been around for decades within the first responder service, fire, police, EMS, recruitment and retention, right? And those are issues that we're addressing now, that I'm trying to address. And a lot of these issues will take more funding from our budgets to address these issues. And it's not the public's fault. It's the people who sat in leadership roles within the first responder system that didn't address the issue decades ago when they saw the issue coming and didn't do anything to eliminate that derailment of this train. And that's where we are.
That's really what my comment, it's not so much, I was most recently a first responder fireman,
Right.
and I come from being a sergeant with the sheriff's office. So I'm aware of what we do and what responsibilities we have. But there's general citizens that don't know that.
Right.
And that's the information I want to see get out. I know it, all the policemen and firemen know it, but maybe Ms. Jones and Mr. Smith don't know it, and that's the ones I want to see more educated, not just a YouTube video that was at the CPR class.
And Brian, Chris Fortunato, Director of Kenner Media. Brian, you and I have known each other
Long
for
time.
30 plus years. Knowing your experience in both law enforcement and fire protection, first responder, and what you just said about the average citizen not understanding, not being aware of what our fire department does, most of us are probably aware that our law enforcement officers are trained and equipped to apply Narcan
Yes.
in very terrible, dire circumstances when necessary. But a lot of people don't understand or realize that our fire department has undergone this training as well.
Yes.
And so it's not propaganda. This is awareness showing the public what our fire department, first responders do every day. It is not propaganda. So we're just making aware through the city resources and platforms of what's going on with our first responders.
The reason I call it propaganda and the perception is because that's what, did you do the video of him with Don Robinson?
My department did.
Okay, well then I'll apologize to you because I thought it came from the parish, because the parish is famous for putting out perceptive videos and information to make the public think things are okay when it's not. Do I know that Narcan is being administered? I've had to actually do it more than one occasion as a fireman. So that is good. And I want that information out to the public to know that our policemen and firemen are here to serve you as best they can. But not to make it seem like they just started that training. That, if it was a refresher
Council
class,
Chairman. Council Chairman, isn't this a discussion that we had off to the side?
Yes.
Well, and just in closing, Brian, you know I am 1,010% supportive, would take a bullet for our police, our firefighters, our first responders. So this will not be the last time you see those types of awareness videos informing the citizens of Kenner and the public of what our first responders in Kenner do. So it won't be the last time you see, but it is not propaganda, period.
Thank you, Ms. Fortunato. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. Miller.